late round, even then, it was still a difference maker, and they weren't able to really show that they had that extra gear, knock. So I think, again, tonight, that's probably going to be exposed. But stranger things have happened. I also didn't expect Fury to be in this position. So at the end of the day, there's an opportunity here for them, but it's going to take an absolute life game from this team to be competitive.
Yeah, they're definitely going to have to bounce back. It's not been... I think yesterday was probably one of the more disappointing performances. Obviously, Dire Wolves were heading into that with a lot of question marks around them. They answered a lot of questions, and Knock, unfortunately, again, Xenox, we only left with more questions than answers. But if ever there's a chance to take down a titan of this region, I mean, I'd probably go back and see that Knock have never beaten a team like this before. This is the moment to do it.
Well, Titans in Oceania, but I think there's certainly good teams in this region, and I think that's what you're kind of going with, Rob. So,
Thanks,
certainly an opportunity for Knock has presented an out-of-form Fury, perfect time in the season, and also a lot to gain in terms of if you can win this, it suddenly makes life more possible to get out of the bottom two and make playoffs. It would also be arguably the best win of all time for South Asia. I don't think anyone could debate that, the historical nature of Fury and what they've been capable of over the last, I guess, 24 months now, Rob. So, there's a bit in this game. I don't look at this as a whitewash. I certainly look at this as the kind of game where Knock can be competitive, not to the point that I would tip them, but certainly would be disappointed if it ends up somewhat similar to the Elevate Bleed game.
There's certainly a bit in this one. Let's hope it's nothing like your bit that you introduced the show with. Let's go ahead and start talking about Fury. This roster, Guz, I'm not even going to ask a question here. I'm just open floor.
Oh, open floor. Jeez, you're giving me...
I'm giving you the license.
license.
There's only so many ways I can bend this bloody rubbery snake. You need to take this one off me, mate.
You just want me to rip into him and not take responsibility. Look, Fury have just been mid, is the greatest way to describe them, and their attack defense win rate reflects that. 48% attack, 50 defense. Now, in an ultra competitive league with multiple slots, those numbers would actually be okay. But Fury should have been, dominating. You compare that to the likes of Bleed, for example, 60% attack, almost 80% defense, and that's only been bolstered by tonight. So they're lagging behind in the dominance factor, and unfortunately, that has actually led to them now finding themselves in an awkward position with only the one win, because other teams have been able to capitalize upon that. So Fury go into tonight with an opportunity to reset.
Yep.
But I do question if there's any looming pressure in the backs of their minds where they think, wow, we could actually lose this and miss playoffs. It's certainly not a mentality that they should find themselves in, and I'd be very disappointed if they do, and that would be a lack of leadership from the team if they're even thinking that.
Yeah.
But it could play a part if they are in that mindset.
I mean, the conversation, Xenox, if the last game was there's not too much at stake really because it's a best of one, it kind of changes a little bit here for Fury. They definitely need this one, but also I guess the real crucial piece of information that we go into this game with is that Fury are yet to play both South Asia teams, which theoretically at the start of every stage, your Furies, your Bleeds, your Elevates, that's 6 points for you to begin with.
Absolutely. The issue is they've dropped so many other points in other matches, Rob, that the point you just brought up is pretty much null and void. Because even if they go and beat Knock and Hasib Warriors, they can't make top 3. It's impossible. Like, they can't even get into the top 3. Now, that means full well that they can't finish second and they can't finish third. So the only way in which, Rob, they avoid Bleed, now that Bleed, and we now know, will finish first, they have to finish 6th. They don't want to win. They want to stay exactly where they are. They need to stay 6th if they want to avoid Bleed. Otherwise, they are very much destined to be on the Bleed side of the bracket. Now, I know everyone's going to be like, and it's pretty true, you have to beat them anyway to go to the major. If you beat them in the semifinals, you're probably then likely to win the grand final. But if you go and beat Bleed in the semifinal, you still got another whole grand final to play against like an Elevate. So you're not guaranteed anything. You'd love to play them in the grand final. And for Fury, because of their poor form, that's just not going to be a possibility.
Yeah, it's kind of like that final boss storyline, right? You want to leave it until the final step. You don't want to have to take that on too early. But I have been told by my producer, get ready, it's a spicy one. Let's go to the vetoes and see how things have panned out here.
Lair.
I know, it's already in my head, bro. If it's not Lair, I'm telling you right now, I'm turning my screen off and walking away, and you boys can do the rest of the show. I have been baited beyond reconciliation. Don't you do this to me. Is this the first time we're about to see at this stage? Holy my lord. Sorry, Jake. I laughed a little too loud that it clipped inside of the Discord. But, Lair in such an important match for Fury. Jake, what's your thoughts? I need your thoughts on this one.
Well, that sounds condescending and a little bit rude, Robert. I would actually say the color commentator of the two would be the one you want the thoughts on. So I'm going to actually pass that over to Guz. I'll skip that question. I'll pass. I'll collect 200 and go next. Guz, Lair, thoughts?
Well, I would love to bounce some ideas off you, Jake. So if you just give your initial thoughts, and then I can double down or counterpoint those particular points. I'm sure you've got a couple written down, right? Or am I mistaken?
No, I've got absolutely nothing written down for Lair. In fact, I was not expecting it for this match, simply based on the fact that for Fury, do or die game, is this the match you want to go to? Is this the map? I think, look, fundamentally, though, it comes down to information we're not privy to. How much have you actually put the work in for either of these two teams in terms of scrimming it, playing it, understanding it, core ethos, the methodologies that you want to bring in, what operators, where you're going to play, which sites do you like? There's a lot that goes into these maps. And with Lair being quite new, and also no one really wants to play it, it's the first time for Asia, right?
Yeah,
yeah. So
Asia, we haven't seen it.
Yeah, wow, there you go, 2 whole regions, Winter Play Day 6. So, I'm going to be very intrigued as to how it plays out, but I also wouldn't be surprised if this ends up being a bit of a ranked fest.
Michael, you'd probably know better than me, but I feel like we've literally, I think we could count on our hands, the amount of times that we've seen it so far this stage. This is a very peculiar pick.
Yeah, to the best of my knowledge, you've seen it a couple times EU and maybe at least once NA. I can't comment on the other regions, but...
I think I heard one Korea, so literally, you're only talking about a handful. It's crazy.
Yeah, there's super limited data, and I don't know how many of those ideas from those games have been taken and implemented into what we're going to see tonight. There's every possibility. I'm genuinely surprised that we are seeing it here, and I thought at any point in time it would be playoffs. Lair is a very large and very complex map. And even in the games that I watched in EU, I feel like it was only tapping into half the potential the map had. So I'm very intrigued to see how these teams play it, because we know that the fundamentals of teams here in Asia can sometimes flounder. And so it could make for a very different Lair to what we've seen in these other regions.
Well, it's time to get underway. This is a very serious match. I know it's been all sunshine and rainbows, bit of humour leading into this one, but there is no doubting it. Fury, the pressure is on. We go to an untested and unknown map, and all I can say is, thank God it's Xenox and Guz casting this and not me. Boys, enjoy the match.
Well, there's a lot of pressure in this game, Guz, and it's not for who you think, right? And this might be even left field for you as to where I'm going with this, but the pressure is entirely on the observation team. Like, I need overheads, I need some really nice cinematic shots from Sky. We need them to go absolutely balls to the wall here. I need you to give me some stuff, really sell this map to me. So I hope they've done their homework, especially Sky leading from that obs team. A lot of pressure, international observer. He should know what to do. Absolutely, we know that Easy Medics would have this under lock and key, but has Sky got Lair in his obs back? We'll see. Big game coming up for him.
Yeah, I will say I played a little bit of ranked with him on this map, and it was quite underwhelming. So hopefully he's putting the prep work, and hopefully you have as well. The new HUD does not have the compass anymore, so you may be a bit lost, but fortunately I will be able to guide you through this map. Very excited to finally see some Lair.
Everyone follow Guz, the leader.
I will be the shepherd of the sheep, or however you want to frame it. Ying off the board and Blitz, so we're not going to see any obscure attacking bands here on Lair. Defensively, there could be a couple of different options. I think Azami will be quite impactful on this map, and so that might get taken out. So to the mirror, there's a couple of extension holds, especially top floor, where the mirror is quite popularized. So mirror will not play into this particular match. Final band might be the Valk, and indeed it is. So Azami will stand tall.
Oh, you just wouldn't get that elsewhere, I don't think. I don't think so. Not in North America, certainly, of all regions.
I think Jesse would have his stats ready to go. He'd give me a run for my money.
Yeah, I forgot about Jesse. All right. Fury must win. Does it matter the nature and how they win this? I would like to say no, because it's Lair, and what are the odds that we really see Lair in best of threes, and other teams probably now won't want to play it against Fury if they themselves are not prepared for this particular map. You know, I think this is realistically kind of like maybe a one and done when it comes to Lair for now Fury moving forward. Can you imagine if they go and play, you know, a Direwolves or a Rival or a No Cap later in playoffs, we get to best of 3. Are you really going to allow Lair through having the full knowledge that Fury have gone and played it in an official? Probably not, unless you've been also working on it. So our first look at Lair as well, Cos, from this top-down perspective. Have we got any tricks in the wheel bag of the Obs team? It is actually a really aesthetically nice looking map when you're kind of like going in towards the building. The cave that Lair is in is really nice to look at. The problem, and I've always said this all the way back when it first came in, it is a little bit dull. It feels like they missed a couple of, you know, palettes on the paintbrush for this map. Very grey brown kind of theme across the board. Can be a bit tricky to kind of figure out where you're at, but as we play it and watch it more, we'll all get used to it together as one happy family.
Changing mags.
Are you my dad?
Probably could be, Michael. Probably could be.
Probably. Well, Scopos clashed defensively in this round, so the mid already come through. Knock Knock looking to aggress over towards Ops. That's probably one of the more default push styles that we see on this site currently. I remember watching the Fnatic game back, and their attacks were basically, let's try and snowball that position, and it had mixed success. So Sandy will actually now lurk over towards this mezzanine position, which gets line of sight over towards the main exterior breach. They are to open that up. Also, they're in view with the breach in towards R6 room, and it feels like Knock Knock have actually established some really good ground into this round. Fury have pretty much sat back and left it uncontested. There is some vert play on offer, especially the Scopos roam down below. And I think verticality is something that has certainly not been tapped into its full potential just yet, but being a new map in the pool, that is expected.
Okay,
it always happens with new maps. Yeah.
Okay, that was quick. Not a lot of time remaining in this round.
Bomb located by attackers.
I mean, early days already, but being able to bring the shield for a new map is always a nice thing to have. With the Montagne making it through, not banned out by Fury. Of course, we know they like to play it. We're seeing Chris J use it, Lycolis, of course, in the past. But no surprise to see the Clash try and stall out as they navigate over towards Storage Hall. And Lycolis is already just being an absolute nuisance. Sandy unable to push through. Flash goes out. Opening kill did get found for Fury, so they've lost Jittery. No Quan Hive launcher for the latter stage of this round. Sting is there from the gridlock as well. Nitrocell, little damage. On to Rhymes with Buck. Gets him to half health on that Montagne. And Crit J, an important kill on to Zdux. Knock Knock just slowly getting dwindled down. And Rhymes with Buck with the rotate outside.
Yeah, breaking this cross into R6 room is incredibly challenging. They need the Buck in the front line to provide value, and with the Clash down, that should be a little bit easier. 30 seconds on the clock though, and Fury should be able to lock out this round.
Kill for Grit J once again, as always, one of the star players for Fury. Ransom Buck now forced into using the pistol, and he does find a kill onto Dark. It's actually now 2 versus 2 with 20 seconds left, and if that diffuser gets planted, the Montagne in a post plant is so deadly, but I9 will shut that down. No chance now. The shield will stay on the floor. Envy through the footholds, but through the doorways. BG, man. And Fury will find the opening round.
Yeah, Knock Knock need to ensure that they're getting better value from the Monty. We saw it play a couple of different positions that round, initially over towards Ops, and then a late rotation in through Display. Both times, though, limited impact. And even with the Clash off the board towards the end, which is a really good direct hard counter after they well pinched it, still here. The shield rotated again, and then there's limited time. And those anchors on the objective itself never really under a substantial amount of pressure. So, look, not the worst of efforts there from Knock Knock. Top floor has proven to be the primary side of choice for many teams around the world so far.
Yeah.
So you can kind of write that one off, but...
I want to test your knowledge a little bit here, guys, while we're in the prep phase, but there's 2 other maps in the pool that have now been played the same amount of times as Lair. What are those 2 maps? In Asia League, sorry, to specify.
Is one of them Cafe?
One of them is Cafe, correct. I only played one so far. There is one more.
And the other one... maybe Bank?
No, incorrect. Close. Border. Bank twice. Chalet twice. In fact, it's been the Clubhouse season 7 times, guys. Labs 4, Consulate 3. Everything else 2 to 1. So clearly there's been a bit of favoritism when it comes to you know, more structured defensive maps like Clubhouse and Nighthaven Labs, which is strange then that Cafe, you know, like now Lair and Border have only been selected once. That's of course just for Asia League. And all of that really does change when we go into best of threes in the playoffs. Of course, we'll be seeing far more expanded map pools, and that's always an extra element that for teams is a skill that probably a team like Fury has been yet to actually exercise, but their map pool certainly a lot bigger than other teams. As much as they're struggled in the best of ones, they're the kind of team that when it comes to best of threes should definitely improve.
So we'll see the Monty spearhead the push over towards Warehouse. There is this single breachable wall that leads into Missile, I believe it's officially called. Sort of like a 3-lane option here for the attack on the basement site. And the Mav there, in combination with the Thermite, will find the first pick. They double it down with the second to knock. The hard work of this round already done. Now it's about confirming this 2-man advantage into a round win.
I've seen the Scopos get picked again, but I haven't really been able to actually see whether or not Crit J is going to want to transfer back down. Is currently second floor, but no pressure up above from Knock. I do wonder if he either rotates the normal way or if he does look to just kind of transfer back to site. Looks like he is on the move over towards main. But again, not really near the action. And this is where it could be a bit tricky on a map like Lair in terms of understanding the way that teams want to push in and how and where. Does get, of course, the information from his other shell in terms of that camera that he can kind of look through. But if he hasn't been cleared on this flank and he does commit to it, it is an option. Now, he can also play site here, guys, the beauty of the Scopos, and then look to transfer off of site and play a flank later, which would be so impactful against an operator like the Montang, who is getting potentially pinched, but not quite just yet. There's the pressure off the Nitrous Cell. The swing as well comes through from Crit J. Really nice tag team from him and BG Man.
Knock just fumbling at the final hurdle, but I9 is eventually traded out off the back of the flash. Crit J, 1 versus 1 with Diffuser.
He could transfer, leave his shell on the kit watching it, and then play the other one on a flank, but I think just playing the kit with 30 seconds to go is the smart play. Got a lot of time. Good angle, both very low. 2 HP for Sandy. Crit J probably can't believe it. He's going to go for the prone shot at this point on 2 HP. In fact, he just grabs the diffuser. So it has been acquired. Sandy can go back now, look to get the plant down. 14 seconds, and Sandy will be able to play in a post-plant scenario now. We'll change things up a bit. Again, very low on health. I'm not sure if Crit J's fully aware of that. Could pull out the pistol. Doesn't need it. 3 kills in the round, and has played that Scopos very well. Initially on the flank, on the roam up above. Doesn't see much, doesn't get much. Transfers back, plays site, helps out with BG Man to deal with the Montang. The rest is history. A big round win for Fury.
Yeah, Crit J had an impact in pocket there, so if he had knowledge that he was indeed low on HP and went for that play, it also would have been successful. It was a good start to the round from Knock, and I like their initial ideas over towards Warehouse, the combination of the Mav on the breach to net the pick, and then they found one elsewhere, 5-3 advantage. But unfortunately, and it's such the case on so many maps here from teams late round in South Asia, the final portion of the attack stalled out, very linear. There is the potential for lurks to back hit basement, boiler, stock on the opposing corners of the map. No one really went for that, and again, the Monty wasn't forging a strong enough line forward for the attack to then play around. And Fury just never able to make those positions work out for them in the end. It was certainly a far more competitive round that time from Knock, but still not enough to produce a result. So to first floor we now go. Into this bunk room setup. I am a big advocate for this side. I think it will end up being one of the more popular ones, but only time will tell.
It was the conventional approach on a 3-floor map where basement, top floor, and it sees a lot of the play. We'll see whether or not that follows suit here on Lair as well. Demos brought into action here from Zedox. Especially in this particular round where it looks like Fury might actually employ some kind of roam with Lycolis on the Oryx. They got Legion as well for Dark. We know, yeah, Crit J's on the Azami, but he could too also get a bit of a wriggle on. Once again, the Montang for Knock. Have we seen them utilize it though to the strongest degree? The Montang can be more aggressive in this current era, and I feel like Rhymes with Bark and Co. just feel a little bit almost old school, that slow approach, that kind of stand in the doorway, rather than the more kind of pressure and aggression that we've seen from others when they use the operator.
Yeah, I really want to see the shield here utilized to try and clear this hold up above, because it's not just a roam, there's extensive lines of sight. Rhymes with Bark to contest the run out, and this is where the Monty needs to try and find value. Should be a kill on offer. Just needs to close down the ground and go for melee. Problem solved. BG Man falls in the meantime as well, so again, Knock Knock have the advantage. And they will contest up above. 2 players currently from the attack seeking that. Zedox as well, and Deimos could be a valuable tool in death marking these roamers, 2 of which are still above.
Bark just kind of showing presence there to Rhymes with Bark to say, you know, that's not going to be a doorway that you're going to necessarily be capable of pushing through. And a second round in a row in which Knock Knock have got some kind of advantage. Gumine will drop down. Of course, last time out it was Crit J. That was the hero. He is in the grave for this round. Someone else will have to stand up. Lycolis on 99. On the move, shuffling around, and good pressure. That will be the Montaigne shut down. Lycolis will lose his life for it, but maybe for the betterment. Now on a 2 versus 2, with Envy and Zedox both on 41 HP and Inverse 14 HP for I9. Lots of time. Prone position for I9 on the swing. Great jiggle peek from Envy. Successfully outplays I9, and Dark now in a 1v2, and surely Knock Knock will be able to find their first round of the half. Dark with little to no intel. And it should be Zedox to win out in this fight. Indeed he does. The death mark was looming. And he's played this well, and Knock Knock are on the board.
Yeah, that was much cleaner through the late round from Knock Knock. Really well placed and well timed rotation up above. And despite the counterplay from Lycolis being quite good, we saw the Oryx dash there onto the Bonti, and that netted them the kill. The attack was still able to formulate really good pressure up above, and that Deimos, as I highlighted, really able to provide value there and confirm the 2 versus 1, even with a bit of a split attack there at the closing portion of the round. So clean work from Knock Knock. Maps tend to be incredibly defender-sided when they get into the pool. That's in respects to ranked and also competitive, typically speaking. So if they can just chip away at the tertiaries and have a 2-round half, that is enough to play off.
In the end, a worthy sacrifice from Lycolis. This had to be the moment that I9 was able to probably get that kill. Would have made life very difficult for Zedox.
10 seconds to insertion.
I will say though, I mean, it's early days, guys, but Lair, what are we thinking in terms of side? I feel like every map kind of has the approach where we look at it as like somewhat favorable for attackers or incredibly defender-sided. You know, your more natural sort of like Nighthaven Labs or Clubhouse, for example, Cafe at times. Ultimately, though, do you think there's going to be a lot of that discussion around Lair in terms of defense, attack? Maybe a bit of 50-50, maybe that neutral map potentially while teams figure it out.
If I had to guess, the map is going to continue to be very defender-sided up until maybe the conclusion of the major if it gets enough playtime in Montreal. The map is just so large and there's so much scale that the defense can play around and actually utilize, which hasn't been properly tapped into yet, that I think it will need to favor defense for quite some time. Equally though, I guess it does offer opportunities for the attack to find playmaking opportunities too. I don't know if this map will favor the shield meta as much as maybe others, just due to the sheer scale. Shields generally are a little bit better in smaller maps where there's less of an opportunity to establish crossfires. So only time will tell. Top 4 though continues to be the primary rotation here for Fury. So the Mav is broad as a counter. Matches on the wall, making things a little bit challenging, but an impact EMP to deal with that. That Maverick hole though has created an opportunity not only for the impact check but a kill. So a fatal error there from Knock Knock and Fury punish.
Jay low on health, but opening kill, and that is also one of the hard breaches down for Knock Knock, trying to just play off of this foothold. Envy catches Dark, but not enough to get the kill. Subsequently gives over the intel to Fury in terms of a vulnerability and a weak spot. Still very much expecting a push from Fury to punish that courtyard balcony position. Into ops now for Rhymes with Buck. He does spot two. The clash there, of course, as well. A helping hand, and the main reason why I9 is getting overly aggressive here. The clash now making its way forward. Dark ended up losing his life, and same too with I9. He was aggressive up against the Montang. They are struggling to deal with it, even with the clash. Pistol out. Rhymes with Buck. Successful headshot onto Crit J, but the smoke. He goes down in the gas babe, and suddenly only one shield left standing. The clash of Lycolis in a 2 versus 2 with Zedox and Sandy. 30 seconds left. The fuse that needs to be reacquired as well. This now a tricky situation for Knock Knock.
Top priority here for the attack is kill PG, man. They need to get the clash on an island, especially with Sandy low on HP.
So little time remaining. Great shot though from Zedox, and suddenly a little bit more winnable. What's the plan now for Lycolis? Tries to spin around and get the SMG out. Zedox with a double. Doesn't quite work for Lycolis. And Fury have dropped another round.
Yeah, perfectly well played. Isolated BG, man. Put the clash on an island. Lycolis was not going to win that. Definitely not the 360. And there wasn't enough leeway in terms of time for him to be able to wither that down either. So much better work there from Knock Knock. We saw the aggression from Rhymes with Buck on the Monty. Attracted the attention of the clash. The backline then was able to find picks. And even though he dies, his impact in the round was already felt. Sandy was actually below there on Vert as well. So that was a really nice clinical clear onto I9, who was trying to support that clash. There's some really good ideas being brought into that attack from Knock Knock and able to convert them. So some promising signs in this map for them. They get a primary under their belt. And we'll see how they go here on basement.
I mean, kind of going back to the question I posed at the start of that last round regarding the defensive-sided nature of this map and whether it's map-dependent or if it's simply down to
5 seconds left.
a new map and not quite having ideologies implemented.
Attacker's objective is to
Still,
locate a bomb.
only 2 rounds gained for Fury so far through 4 meant to Knock Knock 2 attacking rounds. If this were a Labs, if this were a Clubhouse, well, we would certainly be a little bit doom and gloom right now for Fury. I tell you what, I'm on the edge of that. I think the next round, if Knock Knock find this 5th round and find a 3rd attacking round, the doom and gloom state starts to envelop onto Fury's side. 4 losses in a row this stage. Coming into this game against South Asia, they must find a way to win. 2 rounds dropped in a row, and maybe now looking to pick up the pace here. Sandy, of course, with the adrenal surge here, if he wants to help out, Rhymes with Buck, who's just going to run straight into Phil, and that's going to be an easy kill onto I9. Caught completely unaware, cause he had no idea that he could get rushed like that. Default still up, they'll deal with it though, and suddenly decent map control established for Knock Knock already.
Yeah, two defenders though, and the Oryx up close could dash. It's risky.
Oh, he's got him! But there's numbers still there, so risky for Fury to just send it down the stairwell without full intel. Sure, Dark does deal with the Montang, but at what cost? At what cost? Lycolis will get brought back up, but low, and Crit J3 again. Not for the first time in this half has Crit J been able to salvage a round for Fury. As competitive as Knock Knock have been, Crit J has been there to stand tall. The Fuse are in a bad spot, and the round incredibly winnable now for Fury as Zedox in a 1v3. It did look, though, for a brief moment that Knock Knock had been able to find a way to put them in a good position for this round, but credit to Fury. They bring it back nicely. Lycolis always there and ready for the trade. On to BG Man, and Fury retake the lead.
Yeah, that was a very chaotic moment. It's pretty rare in Modern Siege where you see 2 death balls run into each other, especially so early on into the round. But ultimately, Fury did make the best calculated play in that position. If you don't take the risk there onto the Monty, you're not going to have any flank potential, and those on site are pretty quickly going to be under a lot of pressure. So it was the right decision. They were able to pull it off. They got themselves that narrow advantage and then could reinforced site.
Attackers
Once
need
again,
to
it
locate
didn't have
and
the
defuse
on the
bombs.
board, so good identification of the win condition here from Fury after I9 got pounced on in the early phase of the round, but yeah, there's the dash.
Diffuser has been dropped.
Crit J just able to win out that trade game in the end. So really good work from him in this round. Such a good player. And they hold the cross on site to win the round.
On a round of the half to come. Third for Knock Knock would be so valuable. And will continue to persist with the Montang despite some countermeasures from Fury. They've brought the Oryx, they've brought the Clash as well.
5 seconds to insertion.
Lycolis 1 and 4, but essentially playing a bit part role.
Is to defuse a bomb.
So I think 12 kills for Crit J before the card expanded back down. Having an absolutely phenomenal performance. And I don't think anyone would be surprised by that, guys. He is a clear stand-up performer. But he's been really the difference in this match. I think there's every world in which Knock Knock could have had 3 to 4 rounds if it weren't for Crit J.
Yeah, this performance tonight could probably just sneak him back into the top 5 overall. Heading into this evening, the 6th highest rated player in the league. Really strong entry stat as well, at a +4. And a good prior round there on the Solace, but back on the smoke this time around. Eyes over towards main breach. The Bandit is in play. Last time we saw the Maverick holes actually work against the attack, so this time around they'll need to be a little bit more cautious. Not doing their due diligence and making sure nobody over towards Mez will have line of sight towards breach. Have ace combination this time around. BG man under pressure. Won't be able to trick that left side of the wall due to the line of sight. Forfeits that control. To Knock Knock, you get it opened cleanly this time around. Just line of sight though. But it's perceived pressure for the remainder of the round.
Pick up the pace now, Knock Knock. 90 seconds left. It's time to just open up this wall, Clash, and Nuisance. Really, the goal right now for Fury is to just deny them the ability to open up R6 all too easily. That wall still electrified and reinforced. The struggle right now for Knock Knock, and as good as the Montang is and as impressive as it can be, the Clash in this instance probably overpowers it in terms of that oppressive nature. Blocking that doorway with a reinforced wall into R6, still standing. Knock Knock need to find another avenue.
We need to see some lurk potential, I think, brought to the board here. A linear push is not going to work. Envy off the board. And no pressure ops just yet, but a rotation to come through here. And Jittery on Breach has found one. Now he can probably just sit outside. He's 14 HP anyway. Maybe they can try to cut off and isolate I9, who's under pressure now from the shield.
Pistol play again from Ryan's Park. He's got another one. Has been quite proficient on the Montang, not just with shield in hand, but also pistol. Jittery still stays in that breach position while the Montang makes his way over. The Clash, of course, though, still a nuisance, still an absolute huge thorn in the side of Knock Knock, and the Nitrocell, the biggest thorn of them all, gets rid of Rhymes with Buck on that shield. Sandy with a kill onto Crit J, stops the hero, but 5 seconds left, no kit, and no chance for Knock Knock as Fury will close the half out, collecting 4 rounds after all. Job done. Let's see how they go on the attack, though.
Yeah, it was another decent opportunity that presented itself, I feel, in that round for Knock Knock to be able to produce a result. It was a good rotation late with the Monty, but they didn't collect the Fuser. And they probably needed an extra 10-15 seconds in that round again to try and isolate the Clash and put her on an island. But that opportunity did not present itself, and it was well played by Fury to lock out that win condition in the last few portions of the round. And so we'll see them now on defense. Top floor, the expected primary side, and it is selected once more. We've seen quite a bit of Mav play throughout this half. In the first half, we saw quite a bit of Mav play, especially on this top floor, to try and counteract the Bandit. We'll see what kind of ideas are brought here by Fury on their attacks. I assume as well the Monty will continue to be a popular selection, although currently it hasn't been teased. Defensively, the Tubarão as well in play, so yeah, certainly some different compositions for this top side and expected to play out a bit differently.
5 seconds remaining.
Yeah, I wonder what the thought process there for Fury is. I mean, it's not as if Knock Knock
Attacker's objective is defuse a bomb.
didn't play well with it. In fact, Fury had to bring counters, the Oryx, the Clash at times as well. They go for the Glaz. I do wonder if this is actually a bit more of a set play for Fury, but, well, they've got no Grim, and that's a lovely spawn peek from Sandy. Clearly knows the map well, and Dark had no idea. He was running full steam ahead. Don't see that too often at the Pro League level, guys, because typically most of the spawn point and spawn peaks are known, whereby a lot of the attacking players kind of pre-check it and they're ready for it, and then maybe you lose the battle. That's the only way you kind of die by that, but in that instance, Dark just had no idea.
Yeah, and the Grim offers a lot of really good utility for clearing this mezzanine position if they want to go for an ops take. But it's going to be quite frustrating for Fury now to deal with. The Mav Glaz combo, though, is something that they may look to employ. Although I fear that its impact will be pretty limited. Patience now for both teams. Maybe BG Man's looking to go for solo play. Ripped Nitro on the other side, though, from Kaid. BG needs to be really careful here.
Been one of the top performers so far as well for Fury in this game. Flash goes out, forces Rhymes to buck back, but he already had the preloaded Nitrocell thrown and ready, and BG Man on the entry by the Flash loses his life. There's Crit J on the glass, and he finds a kill onto Sandy, gets her to the dock, and he spots another one prone. Rhymes with Bark is dead. 2 quick kills from Crit J. Feels like we've seen this movie before. The Crit J show in full effect. Z-Duck's down over towards Maz now. Foothole. Crit J tries to spot him. Still 60 seconds. Still plenty of time for Fury in this round. With Crit J alive and well. Same with Iron Knight. There's enough there for them to still win it.
Yeah, no smokes on Crit J may make things a little bit challenging. I9's lurked forward, though.
I9 has 2
Quite an
smokes as
advanced
well.
position. I9 has them, so maybe they could look to play off that.
Attackers recovered the defuse.
Would have cut off the cross, potentially. But maybe not even needed.
Well, does throw one out, and the second prepped and ready to go. Oh, he turns his back, though, and Z-Dux walks into the smoke. Crit J's going to need the ace to win this round now for Fury. To start the second half, he has acquired the diffuser. The one-man show making its way into town, but Peaks says Z-Dux. And he does land the shot to get the kill and stop that show. And takes down that boogeyman. Knock Knock with a 3rd round acquired. Keeping this one close between these two teams, looking to avoid the bottom 2.
Yeah, Crit J carried his team very hard in that round, and it still wasn't enough. The Glaz got good value sitting inside of the smoke. That push over towards the bathroom half of the map. But it stalled out quite nicely from Knock Knock. They got the first 2 initial picks, and despite Crit J's heroics, they were able to hold that cross towards the late round. Reaggress through the smoke onto I9. If you look back at that Crit J multi right there, Z-Dux, the overpeak, was really well poised to get that kill. And it left Crit J with no room for error. Eventually falls. And a good start to the attacking, the defensive half for Knock.
Bring the Maestro, the Solace. Good information in this round for Knock Knock. Still no Montang. Is that going to end up being a discussion point? Guys, if we get to a latter point in this second half where maybe Knock Knock take a lead, start to continue to do well, and Fury are not opting to bring that Montang, it is readily available. It did prove to be successful, and Lycolis does switch to it at the last second and brings it. So I guess discussion point over. Now more so to see if he will be successful with the Montang. We know Lycolis is a great Monty player. We know Crit J can also flex onto it as well. Curious to see how aggressive he's going to get on the shield op and whether or not Knock Knock are going to be ready for it.
Yeah, the Monty pick rate for Fury currently sits at 37%, but their win rate only at 28%. Their play around the shield has been far below expectation and the global average.
Well, let's start with the Banshees. The Nitrocell does do damage. Lycolis, of course, was trying to deal with them, but the Nitrocell has also kind of gone and done that for him, but he did lose half his health. Logic Bomb does go out really early. So right as Dark has got it, I was a bit surprised for a second. I was like, hang on, you got to wait for that. Literally, as he got it, he's used it. Crit J, another opening kill for him. Traded though by Envy. At the very least, though, that is quite a success for Knock Knock. You only lost one to Crit J this round, and you dealt with him. Run as fast as you can, Envy. It's not quite a gingerbread man chasing you down, but far deadlier. And in the end, Fury now take a 4 versus 3 numbers advantage. The Montang proving to be fruitful.
Yeah, they tried to go for quite an aggressive initial take there with the Monty, but it didn't quite pan out. But fortunately, picks elsewhere have now swung the round in favor of the attack. Lycolis on the rotation down through Illustration can get to work. It's an open hold here from Knock Knock though, so they can pressure these positions. And angles go both ways. And I9 with the 417. Good for the multi. Dark finishes things off. And a much more convincing round there from Fury.
Yeah, I think that like between the two teams, like I know that Knock Knock have actually kind of kept this quite competitive, and maybe, you know, in another stage, guys, we'd be kind of looking at this and giving them the huge plaudits that they, in this case, definitely deserve. The issues that Fury, of course, have been, well, quite bad this stage. They've lost 4 games in a row. They find themselves, basically in last of the teams that qualify for playoffs. And it's still only a 5-3 scoreline, so you kind of like, they're getting the job done, but it feels like them also just limping over the finish line more than really having a full stranglehold of this game. Knock Knock have had their fair share of good moments. I'm sure there's also moments that they would like to have maybe had again. And at the end of the day, statistically, you look at Crit J, 16-6. He is the reason why they're leading right now. Dark is negative, I9 is negative, Lycolis negative. Crit J and BG Man have 24 kills between them. So at the end of the day, there's just some kind of individual superior skill for Fury that's really just edging them out in this game. 5-3 at the moment. Knock Knock still good chances on the defense, but yeah, has all the hallmarks of this one just maybe slipping away from them.
Attacker's objective is to defuse a bomb.
Yeah, eager to see how the tertiary pans out here for Knock Knock. What kind of ideas can they employ? It's double hard breach denial from them with the Kaid and the Bandit combo. No Montang this time around from Fury. Grim didn't have much of an impact last time they brought it. With that operator falling early. So we'll see what they look to do this time around. Map sweep seems to be on the cards here from the attack. Dreamwork, of course, goes without saying, is going to be critical in these positions. Lobby info established. Much like Fury's defense, though, there is a significant hold above here. A lot of Dark Snakes forward, free kill. 3, 2, 1, dead.
Good timing. I9 elsewhere as well on the exterior. Through the range with Buck and Fury really commanding this 9th round now. Knock Knock is just going to have to play catch up. They're going to have to try and force something. It's a big map. You can certainly roam around, but I9 gets another one from essentially the same position. So they did go hunting. They did look for that answer back kill. This feels like actually the most brutal round that we've probably had in this game. A lot of the rounds haven't necessarily been like this, guys. So, Fury to be up 5 versus 2. They're going to get match point off this. I just feel like we're maybe coming to the end of this game where Knock Knock put up a decent effort. Done okay, but Fury, clearly the better team, and are now on the verge of solidifying their second win of the stage.
Yeah, Fury very much looking locked in on the player cams, which is good to see. Full focus on show. And a relatively good attack there up above. Knock Knock, unfortunately, though, did give them a lot of free real estate for the lurk entry up above. That push across from Master side of the map was pretty straightforward. And they kicked things off with that initial pick on the Jittery. And And unfortunately, one of the big weaknesses of bunks is the
Defenders,
retake
protect your bombs
potential for the
from being
defense. If
by
you
attackers.
lose control above and then eventually get site control, it's very tricky. So, comprehensive and convincing round from Fury. 3 match points. And so Knock Knock needs to now tick off a perfect rotation.
What do you take away from this game for Fury, provided they close this out 7-3, 7-4? Do you feel like there's belief back in the camp of Fury? Do you change anything in your mind about them going in, I guess, into the final play day next week?
5 seconds to go.
I think it bodes them some confidence on Lair. I don't know how much more
Attackers are moving
I would
out
be
to
reading
locate
into
a
this
bomb and
result.
defuse
Knock
it.
Knock likely to be the weakest team in the region. So I suppose having the confidence to go to Lair is, again, bodes well for BO3s, where they're more likely to be played. Shout out to Crit J as well. He's 16 kills, so been a good performance from him, solo tonight. Although you don't want to be crutching him too hard.
They do play SIB Warriors next week, Fury as well. So talk about a lead into the playoffs to get your form back, beating up on the 2 South Asia teams. Does also mean that winning those 2 games is very likely to get them out of 6th, which, again, as pointed out in the desk discussion, will put them on the side of the bracket with Bleed, of which actually has already been updated on Wikipedia. Elevate and Bleed into the semi-finals, and it's only played A6. They're that solidified, and of course with the result today, it also has locked in 1 and 2. So those 2 have definitely separated themselves from the rest of the region right now. 4 versus 4 in this one is Lycolis on the exterior. Same with BG Man. It's only Dark and I9 pushing forward, and apparently that's all you need. Shield Man pushes in. Dark plays behind him. You get Ops control. Now Mez control. Lycolis and BG Man still yet to join the party to make this a 4-on-2.
Attackers have located a bomb.
It should be relatively straightforward now to think about opening the forthcoming wall and get some plant pressure. Do have a hard reach to open wall to the left, cross, make the plant. It's relatively well protected. BG Man can hold the cross towards Mez, and that forces all the playmaking to come from our 6th room, which can also be covered. They elect not to open the wall just yet. So they're opening it now. So they expect the plant in the moment, if not already there.
They're activating the diffuser.
Plant does go down. Makes this now incredibly unlikely for Knock Knock. This game has just slowly but surely slipped away from them from the competition in the first half. Lycolis does kill Sandy, and Jittery will fall, and Fury. Well, it's been far too long between drinks from them. In fact, it's been 17 days, guys, since their last victory in Asia League, but the second win of the stage has been found.
Yeah, our first look at Lair in Asia was certainly intriguing. I don't think either team massively reinvented the wheel, but there were some good highlight moments from both teams, but just a little bit too clinical in the end there from Fury and Crit J Rob with a very good performance tonight as well.
I mean, are we surprised to see that, right? This is just it's a common occurrence now from Crit J, seriously making an absolute name for himself in the league. And I mean, who knows what he'll be able to do when he goes internationally, if he goes internationally, sorry, I should say, because it is looking really grim. But that's the first time we've seen Lair. And honestly, from what I saw, I'm so sick of the shields. I'm so over it. It was so rough to watch in terms of like actually trying to understand the map a little bit. But for the first time that I've been able to witness it with my own eyes from start to finish, I enjoyed it. I thought it was entertaining enough. One thing I will say is I really enjoyed Fury's like cheeky little counters they were bringing for the Monty in that first half between the Oryx and the Clash, just keeping it really, really simple. That's probably the first time I feel like I've seen Fury really be committed this stage. Maybe that's a bit tough to say, Xenox, but I mean the scores have just proven to us that they're just not on the same level. And even today, you saw like little glimpses of it.
Yeah, I mean, Crit J was sensational in this game. Absolutely sensational,
Unbelievable,
right?
man.
Like, I need to say that again because, like, it was a difference maker inside of the lobby that, you know,
Yep.
I think in the past for a team like Fury, we kind of look at them as a team. It's why we always speak about them very positively as their team performances. But in this instance, Night Crit J just went to another level. And it was also the impact nature of his kills in the first half. You think about when the game was on the line and the rounds were close, getting triple kills in, you know, kind of 4v4 environments, or, you know, at one point 2v4, he goes and gets 3, brings the round back, they clutch up. So some really, really big impactful moments from him, and a big reason why they were able to, you know, eventually get control of this game. And credit to them. A risk as well going to Lair. So I think going to Lair, the performance from Crit J, I know they only beat Knock Knock, and I say only, but a little bit of a danger game, bit of a trap game, and Knock Knock would have been thinking, oh, it's a vulnerable Fury. So they've navigated this hurdle. It's a good hurdle to navigate. Certainly now, though, they've got far more big goals ahead of them going into the playoffs.
Well, let's navigate our way into the interview room, shall we? Because this is the first time we're hearing from Lycolis for, I think you said 17 days, Xenox, which feels like a very long time. This might be the longest time we've gone without speaking to you, Lycolis. I've got to look. I won't ask the questions about you know, kind of how the league's gone so far. I'm sure these boys will. I actually want to talk about Lair. You guys obviously not banning it. You're ready for it, but were you expecting to play it today? Knock Knock not banning it out is a bit of a surprise to me.
Um, yeah, we didn't expect to play today because like usually Knock Knock just gonna bat it, but well, for some reason they left it, and the last stream I was like Clubhouse, Sky, and and we are with a side select, so we're probably sure they're not going to the Clubhouse. Oh no, we are not, they're not going to the Skyscraper. So we kind of just like, why don't we just play Lair? You know, it's a new map, and we have to be the defender first. It wasn't like, you know, hard to play compared to like other map, and they maybe have some counter strat on Clubhouse. So yeah, we're just gonna play right. So we just
In
ban
terms of
Clubhouse. Yeah.
in terms of counter strats tonight, we saw you guys play a ton of Oryx into the Monty. We haven't seen a lot of Oryx this stage, I must say. Is that something you guys have discovered to be quite powerful, or did that sort of just come tonight out of nowhere?
No, we just like one of like our way to play against like a Monty player. Yeah, we usually just like play RX or maybe small or Clash to like counter it, and they have been like running Monty a lot of rounds, so we just pick it to counter it in case they actually pick Monty. Yeah.
It's been 3 weeks, Lycolis, unfortunately. Is it possible to give us, since your last win, I didn't add that part, is it possible to give some insight as to what's been going on internally with the roster, with the team throughout the last couple of weeks? You know, is there panic? Is there worried? Have you guys kind of sat down and talked things over, why you weren't winning certain games, why you're the position that you're in? Has there been, you know, internal discussions?
Yeah, there's a lot of internal discussion. I believe like yesterday was the most like the day that we have like a long talk, you know, because like um I believe like losing to no cap elevate and bleed was like still like understandable, but like for rival it's like we need some like, you know, serious talk. We need to fix it. We need to win the last 2 games to going to the playoff. You know, like we may be good in one always feel like maybe we are good at like best of 3, but if we can't even win a fucking best of 1, we can't go in. Yeah.
Yeah, it's up there. That I guess that kind of just leads into the pressure element for me. Have you felt the pressure over these past couple of weeks?
um I think a little, because like if we actually ask each player, they're just gonna they're fine. But I knew that probably they could feel some pressure, you know.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, a little bit of pressure that we have to like win the last 2 for like guarantee. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I think I don't know if you heard Turd's comments. I mean, it's coming from Turd, which is shocking, but he said that obviously, like heading into playoffs, they're still really worried about what you guys can produce. So clearly, there's a very big element that, you know, even they believe that these best of ones, anything can happen on the day, and I think it's been shown through and through. Boys, just very quickly, do you guys have any questions, like Hollis?
I just very quickly, like Collis, because obviously playoffs is a different beast. Best of 3s. Is that where you feel like as a team you guys can actually get back to your best siege? I feel like Fury as a team has a very good map pool, and I think adding Lair to that is great as well, because teams now have to kind of look at that as maybe another ban in the veto process. So do you kind of just look at the playoffs as a chance to reset a little bit? It's going to be best of 3s. Is that where you can maybe find some positivity moving forward?
Yeah, that's what we hoping for, and I believe that was we are good at as well. So in the best of T, we believe that our map pool against the other team have like open more option to play against them, and I think we're gonna do a better against like in the best of T. I feel like we were like able to play like adapt more in the best of T series than best of one. Yeah.
It's funny, there's a very common sentiment, even Onigiri said that as well, that he can't stand best of ones because, you know, you lose one map and it's all but over. So there's a very strong sentiment that a lot of teams are waiting for playoffs, including yourselves. Lycolis, would you like to say anything before we let you go?
I mean, like, it's like been a while since I've here. So, thank you for like the fans still cheering us, and I hope next week we're still back here in this interview. Yeah.
Yeah, we'd love to see you back in there, mate. Thank you very much for joining us, and say hello to all the boys for us.
Bye.
I said hello, not goodbye. It's look, positive signs, I guess, but it's still obviously just overall it was concerning coming into today, guys. They very clearly know that it's been unacceptable, and it's very important that they know that the games that they lost. We're not talking about awful teams here. We're talking about Elevate. We're talking about Bleed. We're talking about No Cap. But then the alarm bells start to ring, and it feels like they've really got to kick up the backside at this stage.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that interview. It sounds like there's still a lot of passion in the Fury camp. We have been interviewing Lycolis now for years. He has never sworn in an interview. Not to throw him under the bus, but he dropped a fat F-bomb, and I think that really reflects how much the team got a bit of a wake-up call against Rival. They're like, wow, shit, we're actually in a bit of strife here.
Yeah.
I totally agree that a loss against Bleed or even a loss against No Cap is somewhat forgivable, and you can make up for that in playoffs. But performing like they did against Rival won't be acceptable. And so building up here in the best of ones to close out the stage into hopefully a playoff position where they can find comfort in best of threes is where we should see Fury return somewhat at least to their very best.
Yeah, and it is scary for the other teams kind of looking at this now and just, I guess, using that as a prospect because Fury, they are going to come back with a vengeance. There's no doubt about it. And they've got 2 games critically. Now they've only got 1 game, but obviously this game, they've completely struck off the list. And the following matchup against a Sib, I mean, it is a way to kind of build form a little bit. Maybe you could argue there is a chance of a false positive going into playoffs, having the 2 South Asia teams that they're versing. They won't have as much of a challenge in a competitive match. But at the very least, again, like you said, guys, there's a bit of passion behind this roster. And my real question, Xenox, is, are they going to bring the Fury?
Oh. You said a lot, and then you ended up on that, and it just ruined everything. Look, I honestly, again, I don't want to take too much out of just this one game. I think said it best in the interview with Lycolis that, looking ahead, best of threes is their best territory. And the only issue throughout all of it, though, is because they lost earlier games, they're not in the best position to proceed to a grand final, which means, and the reason why I'm saying that is because they're very likely they're going to play Bleed in a semi-final. Yes, you got to beat the best to go to the major, absolutely, but ideally you want to prolong that as much as possible. There's a reason why we kind of talked about it previously and many years ago. It used to be Bleed and Fury, opposite side, meeting the grand final, etc. So, look, at the end of the day, though, I think in terms of a warm-up for Fury, they got Hasib next week, and then going into the playoffs, it'll be, either a no-cap, a Dire Wolves, or a Rival. I think that's a good test. You win that nicely. Then you've built nicely into that Bleed game, and who knows, maybe form is refound. But clearly, and as Lycolis said, that loss yesterday to Rival, they weren't happy, and I think some alarm bells went off.
They weren't happy, that's one way of putting it. He had a bit more of a choice word to use for it, but nevertheless, Lycolis and Fury, they're back on top of their game. Let's hope that they can take that into playoffs as they take a Sib on next week. But we've only got one more game to go, so don't go anywhere. We'll be back after this.